In this tutorial, we're going to be covering creating a test or a quiz inside of Moodle. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is actually create a category for the questions that you're going to create for your test. Now, these categories act like folders that house your test banks. And the reason we do this is to keep everything organized in case you want to use any of those questions in the future. If you want to do like a collaborative test such as a midterm or a final, this really helps you keep everything organized. So the first thing we're going to want to do is come down to our settings block inside of our course that we're wanting to create the test in. And down at the bottom of settings, we're going to click on question bank. That'll expand this menu. And then we're going to click on categories. Alright, now at the top here we see all the categories that we currently have in the course. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom. And here where it says parent category, this is going to be the category for your current course that you're working inside of. So just leave that as is. You can actually create categories inside of other categories, so you'd have like a subcategory, and you could build a hierarchy like that. But it's a little simpler just to keep one category per test bank, and it just makes things a little easier to keep track of. So down here in name is where we're going to actually name our category. So I'm going to call this one Test 1, Chapter 1. Okay. And I'm going to hit Add Category down here at the bottom. Alright, now we can see down here in our list of categories, Test 1, Chapter 1 has been created, and it currently has 0 questions in it. So now we want to add some questions into this category. So we're going to first want to scroll down a little bit and come back to our settings block. And under the question bank this time, instead of clicking on categories, we're going to click on questions. Alright, and at the top we're going to have to select our category that we just created. So click in this drop down menu, and I'm going to come down to Test 1 Chapter 1. And it's currently empty. So next step is to actually create a question. So in this button down here at the bottom, create a new question. Just click it. And now we get a list of the different types of questions that we can create. If you're teaching a math course, you can do calculated questions or calculated multiple choice questions. The ones that we're really going to get into are the true false, multiple choice, and essay, as these are the most popular questions that are used. So first of all, let's select true false, select next, and notice up here at the top also, whenever you click on any one of these types of questions, you get a description of exactly what this question allows you to do and what kind of question it is. But let's click on true false and then click next. At the top, just make sure that you're in the category that you want to put the question in. Down below that is the question name. Now this is a mandatory field that we have to fill out because it's highlighted in red and has a little red asterisk as well. Now the question name is not something that the student's going to see. This is just something that's going to help you keep organized and identify the question easily. In this instance, I'm just going to name this question 1 though. Alright, now the question text is actually the question that you're asking the student. This is what they're going to see in their test when they're going through it. Tri-County CC offers associate's degrees. Alright. This answer is going to be true. So when we scroll down a little bit, now default mark is going to be the number of points that this question is worth. We can change this later, so right now I'm just going to leave this as 1. General feedback is going to be any sort of feedback that you want to give the student regardless of what answer that they give. Correct answer is whether this question is true or false. That is true, so we're going to change this from false and click true. You can also separate your feedback and give a specific response for the student if they answer true, or you can give a specific response if they answer false. I'm done now, so I'm just going to hit Save Changes. And now we can see our question here, question 1. That's what we titled it. And you have created by and last modified. And we also have some editing tools over here. You can view the question. You can edit it again. You can move it up and down in your list once you build a list of questions, or you can delete it using the X button here. All right, let's go ahead and create a new question. And this time, let's do a multiple choice question. Okay. The question name on this one, I'm just going to call it question 2. And the question on this one, let's do Tri-County CC is a and blank year college. Again, we have the general feedback. And below that we have, instead of just correct answer, we have one or multiple answers that we can choose from. So if you have something, that's like an A and C is correct, or A and B is correct, then you would choose multiple answers are allowed. We only have one answer here, so that's all we're going to choose is one answer. You can also shuffle the choices. This means that each student that clicks on this question, A is not going to always be the same as what the next student can see. Choice 1 is going to be the first choice that you give the student. So I'm going to put a 2 in here, and your grade is going to determine if this answer is correct or not. That's the correct answer that I'm looking for, so I'm going to click in that drop-down box and change that to 100%. Again, you can give this student feedback for this specific answer that they choose by using this feedback box here. Choice 2, 3. That's not the correct answer, so I'm going to leave the grade as none. Choice 3, 4, choice 4, 5. Okay. You can add more choices if you would like by clicking the blanks for 3 more choices option, and you can keep doing this as long as you would like. We're just going to stick to 4 answers though on this one. Again, you have more feedback options for any correct response, partially correct responses. That's if you have multiple questions. And penalties for each incorrect try. That's going to be if you allow multiple attempts for a single question. If they get it wrong the first time, then they're going to get 33.3 repeating % knocked off for their next attempt. But I'm not doing this, so I'm just choosing a 0 here, so they don't have any penalty. Now I can hit Save Changes. And we have our second question added. And add our last type of question that we're going to look at, which is an essay question. Next. Question 8. Question 3. Question. Describe your chosen degree. This one's very short and to the point, since the student's going to be answering this on their own. There's no options that we have to choose, but you do still have the general feedback options. Now we can scroll down, and you can also put notes in here for the question if you have somebody else grading your quizzes or tests. I'm going to leave that blank though, and we'll get Save Changes. Alright, now we've got our 3 questions created, so we're going to want to go in and actually create our quiz now. Let's go back into our course, and I'm going to scroll down. First of all, turn editing on. and scroll down to add an activity or resource in the section that I want to put the quiz in. Scroll down in our list here and choose quiz, add. I'm going to name it. This is the title that the students actually see. Quiz 1, description. This is the instructions that you want to give the students when they open up the quiz. Complete the quiz within the time limit. You can choose to have this description on the course page if you would like. I'm going to leave this unchecked though. On the timing, this is when the quiz is going. You can have it open automatically and close automatically if you would like. If you leave both of these options unchecked, then the quiz will always be open as long as your course is. Time limit. We're going to give this one a time limit of 5 minutes. You can change this to seconds, minutes, hours, days, or weeks. I don't know why you would want a week-long test, but the option's there if you need it. All right, now this option, when time expires, open attempts are submitted automatically is the default that's selected. You can change this if you would like. This just means if the student runs out of time, whatever that they have done so far up to that point is going to be submitted, so they don't just get a 0 on it. You can, though, if you would like, change this to attempts must be submitted before time expires or they're not counted. That means if the student does not go through and click the submit button before they run out of time, then they just don't get a grade on it. They get a 0 because none of their work is actually turned into. You can also set it up with a grace period for attempts to be submitted. This means that they can't answer anything else, but they can take their time to go through and submit it themselves. The easiest option, though, in my opinion, is just to choose the open attempts or submit it automatically. If you have categories set up in your gradebook, this is where you would choose what category you want this test to fall under, or quiz. And so I'm going to choose just a regular assignment. And this, the attempts allowed is the number of attempts you're going to allow the students to take this quiz. You can choose unlimited or go up through 10. I just want them to have 1 attempt at this quiz, so I'm going to select 1. Scroll down a little bit more. In the question order, the questions as shown on the edit screen, that just means that whenever we go in and we start adding these questions into our quiz, that the student's going to see them in the order that we have them set up. I like to choose to shuffle randomly. This just makes it a little more difficult for cheating to happen because question number 1 is not going to be question number 1 for all students. It might be question number 2 or 3. And below that, we can choose how often the student gets a new page. Just a note, Moodle actually tracks student activity by the pages that they go to. If you're going from one page to another, it's tracking that as activity. If you're staying on the same page for a long period of time, for over an hour actually, Moodle sees that as inactivity and will actually log the student out. So if you have a test with a lot of essay questions where it might take the student a couple of hours or so to answer all those questions, and you have them all on the same page, then there is a chance that Moodle will log them out of their account and none of their stuff will be saved. So they'll have to go back and redo the test. So I like to choose that every question has a new page. That way Moodle keeps tracking their activity. Shuffle within questions. Again, this is just to keep your questions shuffled, all your answers. You can choose the type of feedback that the students get here. Now your review options. This is going to choose what the student is, what kind of feedback they're allowed to see at different points during the quiz's lifespan. immediately after the attempt. That means as soon as they're done, they hit the submit button. These are the options that they can see. If you have multiple attempts open up, then I would choose to not show anything here, because the student's going to go through, and as soon as they hit submit, then they're going to see all the correct answers, and then they'll just go back through and answer everything correctly. If you have none of these selected, then they just won't see anything except for their grade. Later, while the quiz is still open, this is within 2 minutes after the quiz has been finished, they can go in and look at whatever you have selected here. Again, I'm going to unselect everything here. And I typically leave both of these blank, and say after the quiz is closed, then they're allowed to see everything. You can still block them from seeing the correct answer if you would like, if you plan on using these tests over and over again. It just helps to eliminate some cheating, but I'm going to leave everything selected here. And the display, this is just going to be how things are going to look for you while you're grading. You can show the user's picture if you would like, if they have one uploaded, the number of decimal places they're going to have here. We're just going to leave all this as default. If you have a student who has missed a test for some reason and you want to allow them to take it again, you can go through and you can change the dates that they open and close. And to keep all the other students from being able to access the test again, you can hit require password. And you just type in a password in this field, and then give that student the password. They can go in and take the test without anybody else having access to it. You have more feedback options after this, and some restrict access and activity completion options. We'll go over these in another video. So now let's hit save and display. Alright, now we have some general information about our course. About our test, excuse me. There's one attempt allowed, and the student has 5 minutes to complete it. And currently there are no questions that have been added yet. So we're going to want to go to edit quiz. Alright, so up to this point, we've created a category for our questions. We've created our questions and put those in that category. And now we've created our actual test shell. So we're going to want to go through now and actually add our questions that we created from the category into this test. So over here on the right, we're going to choose our category that we just made. So test 1, chapter 1. And now we see all 3 questions that we just added. So we can select these individually, or click this top box up here, and that's going to select all of them. And then I'm going to go to add to quiz, which is directly below that. Okay, now you can see over here, this is labeled as page 1, page 2, page 3. That's what we want because we chose each question is going to have its own page. Now, if all of your questions are going to be worth the same amount of points, even though this says it's only worth 1 point over here on the side, you can leave that as it is, because Moodle will actually do all the calculations that are required to get your maximum grade that you choose up here at the top. I'm going to choose that this quiz is worth 100 points and hit save. Now, even though this would only add up to 3, these questions will actually be worth 33.3 repeating points each. So that's it. We've got our quiz created. We've got our questions put in there. We've got our maximum grade set. We've got our questions page the way we want. So we're done. We can go through and go back to our main page. Alright, so that's how you create a quiz in Moodle. I know that's a lot of stuff, a lot of steps to go through and a lot of things to remember. But once you create 1 or 2, then it gets easier as you go. But as always, if you have any questions, please just let me know, and I'll be glad to help you as much as I can.